Hey Skyfarers, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords channel and podcast. Where today we're not talking about Kharadron Overlords, we're talking about Fyreslayers and maybe some elves. But from a Kharadron Overlords perspective, of course, and then some stats, because we all love stats. Joining me for today's show is a little white circle called Duardo Max.
Hello, everyone.
We had some internet issues, but we think we sorted them. So sorry for the delay, everyone. Hello to everyone in the chat. AOS Coach, Jay Durfu, Colin, Mr. Coach. We've got famous people in the chat, so we need to be on our best behaviour.
Mr. Anthony himself.
Yes.
Wow.
Cool. I guess we'll start with the news, which is actually the first thing we have to talk about, which is Fear of the Deep, which is on pre-order. So men have been reading books today, and we have been watching men that read books, and we know what has happened because we don't get stuff in advance ourselves, so we can't read books. How do you feel about it, Max?
So I was excited when they announced this box because new things are always exciting, and as you know, and maybe people in chat know, I'm also a Fyreslayer player and collector. So yes, new things. Then we found out it's a single hero. That is definitely what Fyreslayer needed. Another hero, okay. We've seen from the community article, he has cool abilities. He can buff them and give them extra damage, or you can charge in the combat phase and things like this. So that seems cool. And then today we saw what they actually do, that they changed all the Warscrolls, which is a bit weird that they change Warscrolls in a box, but I believe it's just because the book is delayed and this was planned to be a release alongside the book. But yeah, okay, so we'll have a short period of time, I guess, with just the Warscrolls that you find in this box. I don't know if tournaments will allow them or not, since there's no FAQ or nothing, and they're available physically only in the box as for now. And then I read the things, and I'm less excited.
Okay, so let's unpack some of that. But do you think they will update the app with the new Warscrolls? I mean, they've got to.
I'd not be surprised if they wait until we have the book and they update all the factions Warscrolls.
I mean, it does depend how long the book's going to be, doesn't it?
Yes, but so far we had no word, no confirmation, nothing of a book yet. It's just us firmly believing. But it is awkward that there's new Warscrolls. I don't know, did the Slaanesh Daughters box that came out in, what was it, 2020? Fall of 2020? Did that change Warscrolls? Because the books only came then half a year later.
I can't remember, to be honest.
Maybe I think maybe they did change something for Daughters. So it might as well be that we have to wait a while.
I mean, I remember Aether War, when it came out, had Warscroll cards in the set, and just for the units in the set. And obviously, if that book had been delayed, those Warscroll cards would have still been in there, I would imagine.
Exactly.
So that's what I think is probably the problem. It's interesting that they didn't just go and take them out, because that wouldn't be that difficult.
Yes, but well, I believe they went into print long before they knew if there was a delay or not.
No, maybe. I mean, they could just go and open up the boxes, and it wouldn't take long, would it?
I don't know. Just leave it inside.
But
it's going to cost them more to open each single box and take them out.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think they'll probably run with it, and we'll get an FAQ maybe next week.
But an FAQ for a dual box?
Well, it would be for the battle tome, won't it? It would just be an FAQ saying use the new Warscrolls.
I expect them to just wait for the battle tome. Maybe that's next week. Maybe it's in a month. Maybe it's in half a year, and then do the FAQ for that.
It's it's very awkward to have new Warscrolls and not be able to use them. So
Yes, I understand for the new heroes. Here's a new hero. Here's his war scroll. Play with it. But for existing units, it's a bit awkward.
wasn't there a similar thing with Stormcast as well before? When the Stormcast, and I can't remember, it was Stormcast and Nighthawk set when that came out, launching AOS 2, and that had Warscroll cards and points, and then also those points changed when the book came out. They did.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't around. Oh, I was around, but I didn't play Warhammer at that point. But yes, let's take a look.
Let's go into specifics of what's changed. So you mentioned briefly the new hero.
Yes,
he does lots of stuff.
He does. He's very cheap.
He does it delayed as well. But 80 points is very cheap, so I think you will see him because 80 points for a hero is just good value.
It is. It's a good filler for warlord battalions. Usually you'd use the Rune Sun, which is another very cheap hero. I believe that one got cheaper as well in the latest FAQ. He went from like 90 points to less than 90. I'm not even sure. He's like the most useless of all the heroes on foot. So maybe we'll see this guy instead. He looks cool. I like the model.
Yeah, he kind of, with having the mask and stuff, is a little bit different. It's a bit.
Yeah, I mean the only difference is he has a mask. Apart from that, he's exactly the same.
Big sort of Dwarden face thing is they don't normally have something quite that big, do they?
No, they're a bit smaller, but they do have the Dwarden face belly plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the salamander cloak. That's typical. For the ones that have clothing, it's usually a cloak. And yeah, something a brazier axe is very typical, and he's holding up a burning, smoldering gold nugget rune thing with his bare hands. So cool. But I mean, it's the 101 of Fyreslayer design.
Yeah.
Design
the only Fyreslayer design.
That's the one that you do.
Yeah, but in terms of what he actually does, so you put a model dice next to him with a 1-up, and then for every model, every Fyreslayer's model that's slain within 12 inches of him, then you change the dice. So if you bear in mind, most Fyreslayer models are 2 wounds, and that's obviously heroes or Magmadroths or more, but that means that and this dice doesn't let him do anything until it gets a 6. So basically you have to take 10 wounds at least for something to be able to happen. And then at the start of the combat phase, once per turn, he can use the dice, which is like picking up runes from dead Fyreslayers, basically, to pick from 4 abilities. And then when he does, the dice goes back to 1. So those abilities are, he can give a unit of Auric Halfguard, Halfguard Berserkers, or Volkite Berserkers. That's wholly within 12. They give him a ward of 6+. He can give units the chance to fight when they die, but they can't have fought earlier in the phase. And unlike a lot of abilities like this, there's no roll. It's not like on a 4+, they just always do it. It's quite good. The other one is that they can immediately attempt a charge, which is in the combat phase. So it doesn't say your combat phase, so it can be done in your opponent's turn, which is quite good. And the last thing is +1 damage to melee weapons.
Yes. So this obviously pairs fantastically if we keep them with the runes, with their allegiance ability to give more rend to melee weapons. So you could have Hearthguard Berserkers with 2 rend, 3 damage, 2 attacks each, which is pretty good. But we don't know what happens to the runes.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
what I don't like about this is you need to lose models before you can do something.
yeah, and quite a few models as well.
Yes, a
The
lot.
good
And
thing is,
Fyreslayer doesn't have the mass of units to lose.
yeah,
So, yeah,
but the good
I
thing
don't know.
is, it appears that it stacks. So if you have, say, 2 or 3 of these guys, any models that die
Yeah.
would count for all of them.
Yes, that
And
seems to be the case, but that seems very powerful.
and it does seem like you could give a unit +3 damage.
Exactly. So you have 5 dudes dying, and then you have 4 of these heroes within 12, or wholly within 12, and suddenly you can have a hero charging in the combat phase with 2 rend and 4 damage on the weapons.
AOS Coach in the chat says it's a stark contrast compared to the IDK Full Master. Yeah, so we'll get to the Dirty Elves in a little while, but yeah, for that, he has a similar ability that can do multiple things. You don't have to have anything die though, so I mean, there's a big difference.
Yes. And then you have things like the unit has a ward of 6 up. Okay, we know now that, and we'll see in a minute, that some people have lost abilities where this makes more sense now.
Mhm.
But you can get this from for example, the invocation, the runic firewall, or you can get this from the terrain feature.
Yeah.
So.
Or
Okay.
you might just have a 4+ ward on your war scroll.
Okay, you can fight before death. Volkites can already do this once per game, and when they do, it's usually because then they're all gone. I think the strongest ones are the bottom 2s, Grimnir's Resolve and his Vengeance. Because attempting a charge, if you can still tunnel with a Rune Smiter 9 inches away, you basically have, if you set it up right, you have 3 attempts to charge. You can charge once, you can reroll with a command point in the charge phase, and then you can attempt again start of combat phase. So this seems very good.
Being able to move in the opponent's turn is pretty good. Because Fyreslayers are slow. So, yeah, that's handy. So, I mean, and the other important thing about this is the timing. Because it happens at the start of the combat phase. So, if you take, for instance, just one turn sequence happening, if you lose models in the hero phase from magic, then they will turn the dice. And if you lose models in shooting, they will turn the dice at the time. But then you get to the start of the combat phase. So any models that die in the combat phase don't happen afterwards.
No, but you count models in the charge phase. So from impact hits or monstrous actions, stomping. So yeah.
So I mean, it's primarily though a buff against. Well, I said buff. Like it's like a tool you can use when you take damage against shooting and magic mostly, or impact hits. Because if you take damage in the combat phase, then it's not going to be until your next turn, or the next turn rather, that you can actually do anything with this.
Although
ability.
when you set it up and okay, you're gonna charge me, you're gonna kill some of my models. If you do this, know that I'm gonna hit you back hard with these buffs on this unit I have behind my lines, or that is not fully engaged yet, or so. It's also interesting if we keep, or if Fyreslayers keep the Hermdar ability, which is strike first, because then you start of combat phase, you can do this, and then you can strike first in your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Which is very strong. So, you're gonna charge me? Well, I'm gonna buff up, and then I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing is it does mean that because it's the start of the combat phase, if they charge and then you want to buff them, that you need to make sure you don't charge them out of range of him.
Yes, and this will be interesting when we get to the next units, because some of the ranges changed.
Yeah. So, I mean, from a carrier perspective, would you ally this guy in? Or
I mean,
coalition
for 80
him in?
points, he's a cheap hero if you need to fill a battalion. And he's not bad in combat. His stats are pretty good. 4 attacks, freeze and freeze, 1 rend, 2 damage. It's
Because he can
basically
still.
four carbine shots from an ironclad.
I believe he is a totem. I'm not sure.
He is a totem, yes,
Yeah,
but he's
so he
not
gets
a
it.
priest. That's one of the problems I have with him. He doesn't have the priest keyword, so and that's.
But because he's a totem, he can actually issue commands to KO units from further away than, say, like a chemist camp.
18 inches. Yes.
So he can't go in the ship, obviously, but.
No, but if you have maybe for 80 points, but to get his use of his abilities, you need
Fyreslayers units.
two Fyreslayer units, one to die and one to buff up.
Yeah,
that's worth it.
Yeah, or one to die partially, survive battle shock.
Yeah, but you lose 5 models out of your 10 Herfka. That already hurts. To make the 10 better, to make the 5 remaining better, I'd rather keep the 10.
Okay, so let's move on to Volkite Berserkers. 2 Warscrolls now.
Yes, I'm not sure why, but okay.
Yeah, well, I was a little bit excited when I found this out, purely because I felt vindicated. Because last night, when they went, the product went on the New Zealand version of the website, and there's everyone's squinting at the little pictures and stuff, and I was like, there's 9 Warscrolls. It says there's 9 Warscrolls, but or Warscroll cards, but there's only 8 things in the box. So now we know why. So technically, Fyreslayers got a new unit because everyone's been moaning about how few units Fyreslayers have. Unfortunately, you haven't really gained any more options than you had before because it's there are different ways of being built before anyway. But it is promising that I think they are doing this. They've done it before with Sylvaneth, with the Kurnoff. So I think they should do this more where there's stuff with different builds.
It makes it easier because before you can have this option or this option or this option. If you have this option, A happens. If B, if C, and the Volkite Berserker card, the physical card, is actually a double-sided one that you open like a little booklet because it has so many rules on it. So it's easier now. What they changed basically is the double hand axes, which some people use because they got to reroll their attacks. Now they gain an extra attack when they charge. So that's 3 attacks per model. So you have 31 attacks if you get them all in range and when they charge. It's not bad. 33 attacks, especially if you buff them up with the Flamekeeper. They can do some damage. And what I like most is the Sling Shields. Now it's not a add 1 to your save rolls, but it is a base 4-up save, which makes it easier to layer those save buffs that we have from prayers or even a Mystic Shield.
Because now they can sit in cover and then get Mystic Shield and get a command ability and go to a 3-up.
Yes, potentially they can be very tanky, even get a 6-up after save. But 170 points for 10 for your basic battle line. Like this is the only battle line choice you have that is not battle line. If it's very expensive, I believe. 170 points. I don't know.
I mean, 170 points. Bear in mind that's how much Sentinels cost.
Yes, and it's the same that Blizzbarb archers cost. So what's your point?
Well. I mean, okay. Throwing axes went to 4+4+, which is a buff to both hits and wounds.
Yes, and we've seen this already with the 2 hero updates in Broken Realms, Be'lakor, for the other 2 heroes that no one uses.
So, I mean, they're still not going to do much because they don't have Rend.
No, but it's massive dice.
Yeah.
And now, except instead of maybe getting 1 wound, you might get 3 or 4 through, which is, it's nice to have, but it's rolling dice mostly for nothing. Yeah,
and it does actually maybe force people to use all-out defense in the shooting phase, maybe. Whereas before they wouldn't bother. And then they've used a command point, which means they might have less later on. So, Fyreslayers always used to be my example, or when people moaned about shooting and stuff. I was like, well, Fyreslayers are got shooting attacks on every single unit. But you
Yes.
don't nobody moans about the shooting.
No, because it's so bad. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Another thing that changes the sling shields. They used to do mortal wounds on impact. Everyone within 8 of the enemy
Right.
unit. Now it's models within 1. And yeah, I mean, okay.
Okay.
The good thing is when you charge before, you had to use them, which meant
Mm-hmm.
you did not benefit from the +1 save in the turn that you charged. Now you always you have the +1 save inherently built in your Warscroll, so it's just a nice to have extra. But I wouldn't build, a strategy around mortal wounding people with sling shields.
Because you have basically now you have to get all of them into range for something to get
Yes.
the mortal wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and 170 points now for the sling shield guys. Yeah, we mentioned that, didn't we? Cool. So half cut berserkers went up 10 points. So
Yes, I don't know why, but okay.
Well, yeah, basically same points as Thunderers now.
Yes, I'm not a fan of that either.
No. I mean, there is some sort of logic there for internal points costing, like, 2 units of half guard berserkers is the same as a unit of Volkites with sling shields and a hero potentially. If it's 100-point hero, kind of makes sense. But the big thing here is the ward save went to Holy Within 9.
Yes, and that's the big thing I'm disappointed or that I'm not too keen about. Because you're already, the entire army operated Holy Within 12. It was one of the first books that went to the Holy Within. Everything in this army has to be Holy Within 12 of everyone. So it's a big ball of naked dwarves with orange hair. Now it's 9 inches, and the ward save is a 4+. And I believe they lost the 6-up ward they had when not within range.
Okay.
And it is wholly within 9. It used to be within 10 for the ward save, actually. My bad. And within 10 was much easier to accomplish. So you just conga line like 1 or 2 behind. Within 10 of a hero, they got a 4-up. Now it's wholly within 9. That's
I thought
hard.
it was wholly within 12 before.
No, the ward save was within 10. That's the only thing that wasn't wholly within. That was my mistake.
Oh, okay.
It was within 10, which was much easier to do. So you just had one hero sitting in the back. For example, you tunneled them, and then you charged off, and one guy had to remain, within 10. Now, being wholly within 9, if I charge, I'm 9 inches away. It's going to be very hard to stay within range when charging.
Technically, it's possible because you only have to be within half an inch away with your charge, but realistically, you're not getting very many models in.
You're going to get like 5 people in combat.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the truth is that it's going to be sitting somewhere. The classic way they were mostly used with KO is with a Rune Smiter and tunneled somewhere onto an objective. You wouldn't really be relying on a charge anyway, because it's 9 inches, it's not easy.
Well, a 9-inch rollable, it happens.
Yeah, but you can't. You don't want to be you don't want to be relying on that to happen, do you?
No. But they pose the threat sitting there on that side. If they make a charge, great. If they don't, they are still there, and they're gonna be there next turn.
Mm-hmm.
But now,
very good.
it's gonna make it very hard to pull off. Maybe because people are saying it's too good having a 2 wound models on 4-up ward. I don't know, because they have a 5-up save base, so their save stacking takes them to a 4-up best case. It's not the most tankiest, and it is expensive.
So, I mean, would you still use these guys in free? Because I know you had done in the past, and many people do.
I did when you could bring 20. Now you can only bring 10. No, because they're not defensive enough. to sit somewhere and just tank.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with a battlesmith, but then they lack the mobility, so you want to take them with a rune smiter so they can keep up with the fast ships. They go teleport somewhere and you fly high somewhere. No, currently not, which is a shame.
Okay, and they got the same throwing axis treatment.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm surprised the pole axes remained 2 models in addition on 6s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's good.
which is good.
Yes.
Okay, Auric half guard went to 120 points, so it actually went down in points by 5.
Well, yes. They should have gone down to like 90 points.
They are now battle line of the general as a Fyreslayers priest. Which I can't remember what it was before, but it wasn't.
It was a
priest.
rune master, which in 3rd edition you never took anymore. Before he was in the what was it, Lords of the Lodge battalion that let you pile in twice or activate twice. So he was attacked basically. Everyone took him. When that went away, no one took him anymore because the rune smiter is just better. And the rune master basically was the tax to have these guys battle line. Now you can take a rune smiter. Much better.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't help KO because even in Fring, you can't have a coalition unit be the general. So that doesn't make any difference. But for Fyreslayers, that's a decent.
It is one of the good things. Yes.
So they're turning Fyreslayers into a shooting army. Looks like because they buffed all the shooting and then made these guys battle line easier. But a big thing is they lost the bodyguard ability.
Yes.
So
and this is huge. This is massive. Because before you always had little groups of 5 of these guys next to your heroes, and Fyreslayers armies live off their heroes. So in order to keep them alive from shooting, mortal wound shooting, magic, whatever, these guys on a 4-up could take the wounds, they could shrug the wounds onto them. That's why I was confused when I first read the ability of the Flamekeeper, because these guys would not benefit from a 6-up ward, because the FAQ stated that if you negate wounds by a bodyguard save, then you can't have another ward save. But they lost it, so that's even worse.
I mean, they would have benefited from it if something was targeting them directly.
Yes, but it's very bad for Fyreslayers, this change, because now your heroes, they all have 5 wounds, 6 wounds. They're gonna be gone after 2 turns.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if a new book comes and what happens with the firewall, because there were
the firewall, it used to block line of sight. It lost that ability in the 3rd edition, which already was a kind of a nerf to that, so you couldn't hide in front of it, because that was the thing. I mean,
it was stupid before that you could just hide, just sit in front of him, like, well, you can't see me now.
Exactly, because of the wording. Yes, I'm keen to see what they change, because I mean the firewall didn't do anything against Sentinels, for example, and with long strikes, with Sentinels, with Dragon, Mortal Wound, even with KO, these heroes are not going to be around for long, and you cannot hide them too far behind your lines, because everyone needs to be within 12, within 9. They're all there somewhere. And as I said, without the heroes, this just falls apart.
The biggest defense their heroes have is that the opponent can't actually see where they are.
Exactly,
because they look the same.
Yeah, that's the secret of the army. That's the power, and I'm happy they kept the design this way. They all look the same. You cannot spot the hero.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing is, Magma Pipe's got -1 rend in melee because they already had it in shooting, and rock bolts. So rock bolts, I can't remember exactly what they did before. It was a thing against monsters.
Yes. So what they did, they had damage 2 against monsters, and when you wounded, So when you actually dealt damage, you could roll 1 dice on a 4-up. You halved that monster's move characteristic, and it was -1 to hit until your next. The enemy's next hero phase, I believe. Yes, I think so.
Right. Okay. So now it's unmodified sixes, -1 move on the thing that you're targeting, which is potentially quite good.
More reliable because they have 2 shots each.
Mm-hmm.
So even 5 of these guys put out 11 shots. If you use them in 10s, that's 21 shots. You're gonna have a couple of 6s in there. And it's guaranteed. It's not just on a 4-up, but it's guaranteed -1 move. It lost the -1 to hit, which was strong. I'm not sure if it lost the double damage against monsters. I'm not sure actually.
No, I'm not sure. Let me just check that.
Because that was strong. That was one reason why you took these guys. Tunnel them, shoot the monster. 21 shots with damage 2 was good.
Yeah, they've lost the extra damage against monsters.
Okay. Well, then no need to buy more.
I
don't know what these guys do now. It's 11 shots on hitting on 4s, which is really bad. On 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. It's just allying some KO. I don't know.
And the annoying thing from a KO perspective here is that it doesn't stack with a navigator because of the timing, and the fact that theirs is capped at half movement like that. So when the rock bolts can't make anything go below half move. So if you've already half
you say if you already halved, you can't shoot and make it worse.
Yeah. Because even with the timing of the fact that the hero phase is before the shooting phase, even if that didn't matter, the way you calculate it is you always do multipliers and divisions first and then adding and subtract. So it will never stack with a...
in that case, just take 2 navigators and you have 60 points to spare. And the range is bigger, and they can dispel.
The only other thing is this doesn't need to be a flying unit, so it can -1 move to gargants,
but then let's say you have 10. That's 21 shots. That is what, 4?
Probably -3 move.
4, 6, -3, -4, best case. Does an Archeon or a Marathi with 14-inch movement, does it make such a big difference?
Probably not.
Probably not. You're not gonna harm anyone with 1 rend. Yeah, I don't see these to be that good anymore. Honestly, I'm not sure what a Fyreslayer army looks like in the future.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, we obviously have to wait until maybe there's a new book, or maybe there's a thing where you tunnel these guys out in front of your big unit of Volkites, so that when these guys get charged and die, that triggers your Flamekeeper to then buff your Volkites.
That's an expensive buff. 120 points.
Yeah, but
you can only do that so many times.
It's cheaper than a screen of Volkites, isn't it? Because they're 160 or 170.
Yes, that's
the cheapest unit you have.
But you get 10 bodies for 170. So, it is. There must be a book and explaining how this works in a book, because these changes now work in the current book, I don't see them working. It's just, I don't know, because the hero's gonna die. These guys won't do what they did before, so doing damage to monsters, which they were pretty good at. And Hearthguard are harder to steer because of the ward save. Yeah, I don't. But maybe Magma Dross get really good. I don't know.
So, are we saying then, don't bother allying in Fyreslayers or coalition, like using coalition Fyreslayers in Fring now?
Currently, I don't see a big benefit they can bring, unless you want a monster for battle tactics. Then a Magma Dross is a cheap There's some cheap Magradoff heroes for 240, I think. It's the cheapest one. Which is a cheap monster to get. It can do some things. Don't expect it to wipe out units, but it can do things. And cheaper than a dragon.
What if we just want something to sit on objectives? Tunnel somewhere and sit on objectives.
It's quite a tax because a Rune Smiter is 120 currently.
So,
not
yes.
sure. Plus 170. So to sit somewhere and tank, you want the ones with shields. So 170. That's a lot of points. I don't know how many Longbeards you can get for that.
I can't remember. Let's check.
Longbeards are.
I mean, the trouble is with longbeards is you can't tunnel them, but
no, but yeah, you could bridge them.
Yeah, but then that's got
or even Ironbreaker.
So,
yes, maybe that's the future role of Volkites to tank. I'm not sure. Give him
Longbeards
him
are
up to
105.
They can potentially sit on a 3-up save and then a 6-up ward, maybe.
Yeah.
105, so you can get 30 for almost the same cost as 20 wounds of Volkites.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. If you want to get something tanky, you're gonna look for some things with a 3-up save.
Yeah.
You know, dragons, fulminators, that sort of thing. Ironbreakers, maybe.
Okay, so yeah, unfortunately, this is looking a little bit negative then for the time being.
Yes, but honestly, before you all discharge your armies and sell them and write nasty emails to GW, wait for a book. Wait for a book, and we'll definitely talk about it here. Maybe not do a full review, but we'll note some things and to use the time to paint up your units. There's just 3 units in this army, so you know.
Well, there's 4 now.
Same, and it's 2 kits, so it shouldn't be too hard to get your army done.
Yeah. Let's move on to Dirty Elves. I haven't done it. I don't know
do we have to?
Just to run through it quickly, because people, I mean, in terms of fighting against them, it's useful to know. So they're still elves.
Yes.
Name.
Which makes them inferior.
They are inferior, pointy ears, and blind, most of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
The new hero lets them pick a stance, like a fighting stance at the start of the combat phase, which you can choose between 3 different things. One of them is reroll 1s to hit. The other one is unmodified 6s to 2 hits. And the last one is -1 to wound rolls for things that target them.
Targeting. I found the first
targeting
typo. Yes.
Considering I made this like an hour ago, that's not too bad going so far. And he's 110 points. So
I like it because he doesn't need to do anything to get these. He can just do it. And -1 to wound is very strong. Yes, my tears. I turned off the camera. Now you know the reason, because I'm in tears here. I'm broken down. I'm desperate. No, I like it. I think the -1 to wound, if you ever fought against Fyreslayers who have that as a trait in Hermdar, -1 to wound is very annoying. And because there's not many things that buff to wound in the game.
Yeah, heroes can get it with
this is great.
Best day ever, but
this is great. But it, if I believe, it only targets thralls and reavers, so the infantry. Which is, do any of the heroes have Namarti? Just the foot heroes have that keyword, do they?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think anything else has.
There's no shenanigans with eels or, turtles.
No.
-1 to wound.
No.
Okay, that's good.
This is all wholly within 12, and just for that combat phase as well. So for KO, means that, well, I mean, they could maybe be a bit more killy against us. But we shouldn't worry too much about the -1 to wound in melee.
No.
So it's good. It doesn't affect the shooting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they already have some bills. I played against this once at a tournament. They brought a lot of turtles and a lot of thralls, which already got a bonus when they are in range of a turtle, and they could shoot a lot. So they don't have rend on the bows, but there was a lot of shots coming out. And now if 6s do 2 hits, oh no, that's melee. That's melee. It's all melee. Oh, never mind. No,
because it's all in the combat phase and only lasts to the end of the combat phase. So
I mean, I think if they hit against wounds greater than 3, they do 2 damage on the swords. Potentially good against monsters. I don't know if there's a monster killer build there, but okay, don't mind. We don't have monsters. That's a benefit of not having monsters. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a bit odd because GW said they want to get rid of rerolls and then they introduce the reroll ones.
Yeah, I don't think they might reroll ones. I mean, if you look at the Fyreslayers, I mean, they got rid of reroll all hits and replaced that with just a +1 attack. So, I mean, reroll ones is not too bad. It's when you're rerolling everything that's the issue.
I guess.
So Thrall's got 2-inch range on their melee weapons, and then
which is awesome for them because they have the big base.
Yeah, 32 mil bases, and they got a bit of a buff to their damage. It's complicated. I can't bother to explain it. It doesn't affect KO. It affects KO if they're targeting our heroes, but it doesn't because all of our heroes have got more than 4 wounds, so they got the buff beforehand anyway. It's really it changed. They now get a buff against 3 wound units, whereas before it was only 4 wound units or more.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter for KO. And they
that was the thing, not monsters. That was the thing. Yeah, they got more damage.
But they've gone up to 130 points as well. So yeah, they've got a hero that can buff them, and they got a little bit better, but they've gone up in points as well. Reavers, they had different ways to shoot before, so they changed their profiles. So there's only one profile.
Okay.
It's 18 inches, 3s and 3s. -1 rend and 1 damage.
So they're better than Auric Hearthguard.
Yes, and they wound better than Thunderers, but they have half as many attacks. So fair enough. They get +1 to hit if they're within 9 inches of the target. So they get better if they're being. Well, they basically negate the -1 if they're being charged. If they
Unleash Hell.
Unleash Hell, that's the word.
Yes, although 55 points, that's steep.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
And I was always like, have I got something wrong here? When I realised I've gone up 55 points, because that's a massive increase.
Did they get like 2 wounds, or I don't know? What did they change? Because is it one shot each or 2 shot each?
One shot each.
1 shot each. Is there any synergy? I'm not sure, to get more shots. Because
you can put them inside their little boat thing, so they can all shoot from one place.
Oh, you mean they can garrison the boat? I don't know.
But yeah,
okay, interesting.
I mean, I get you made a fair point when I said that Volkites were the same points as Sentinels. That Blitzbarb Archers are also 170 points, but I mean, this is a shooting unit. The Sentinels are a shooting unit, so they are quite comparable. One has 30-inch range and does more to wounds, and one has 18-inch range and has -1 rend.
Yes, I'm not sure yet. Maybe there's in the book there's some cool synergy, or maybe it's just the point bingo they seem to be playing currently.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and they also lost reroll ones, which.
Because I didn't think Reavers were oppressive in the meta or in IDK armies. I don't know. I think the oppressive ones are coming next.
Jay Durfee has raised a good point that they are a squad of 10. And obviously, if we compare them to Thunderers, which are a squad of 5, so they are
But they have
basically
2 wound Thunderers, so
yeah.
same
But
wound.
for damage output, they are similar to Thunderers with rifles, better because it's the same number of shots. But they
No,
are more
Thunderers have
points.
2 shots.
Yes, but Thunderers are unit
yeah,
5,
sorry.
and these are unit 10. So I don't know if the leader gets an extra shot or not. So it's not exactly the same number of shots, but
Maybe. I don't know.
so I don't know. But that's a massive increase.
It is big, yes.
Yeah, and then Alapexes, which is where I think they've got the biggest buffs.
Yes, these are good now.
10 wounds now instead of 8.
Which is interesting. Sorry to interrupt, because now they don't benefit from things like line of sight blocking in Wildwoods or cover.
Yeah, I don't think they get cover now, which means
So
in
they
the
don't
first
get
turn.
they don't get the first turn thing. They don't get cover from the turtle drum.
Oh, no, because the turtle drum is not cover. The turtle drum
It's not.
got changed to
Used
just
to be cover.
plus. Yeah, they got changed that to +1 save.
Okay.
So,
okay. So there's, but they used to be 8 wounds, I believe. Okay.
Yeah, they were 8 before.
Okay.
You can now take them in units of 2. Well, because I don't think you can make them battle line to take units of 3. And if you do, then the one of the units can be like the alpha shark, and he gets +1 to hit in melee. And they have
which is good.
Dragon style coherency, which is like they only
3
have to be
inches.
within 3 inches, which is really good. Yeah, and I don't know. Does that make you think? Oh, maybe they're doing
I know
gun
that
rollers?
Alopexes are currently pretty good in Idoneth armies,
Yeah.
and this makes them better.
Mm-hmm.
D3 damage, +1 to hit on the jaws is pretty good. If they can be 2, or because they said 2 or more, that hints that there might be some builds where they can be battle line.
Yeah.
So there's a unit of 3, which even if you don't take a unit of 3, having Alopexes as battle line is great. You have free battle line with units you're taking anyway. I think Alopexes, they're better now.
Yeah.
Trolls and Reavers, I don't know because I never saw them on the field.
Final Flash says you could always take 2. I don't think you could take them in units of 2 before. I thought they had the single thing.
They in AOS 2, I think you could.
Okay, but he has raised a very good point, which is if you compare them to Stormdrake Guard, because these are guys that got up 40 points to 165. And obviously a Stormdrake Dragon is 170. So if you had 2 sharks would be 330, and 2 dragons is 340, and they aren't as good as the dragons.
I mean, they have that neat ability with the net launcher that you cannot pile in.
Yeah.
Which, if used correctly, is very strong. That you can tag one end, make sure they don't all pile into you, and then you circumvent, unleash hell or those things from the next charge. 10 wounds, you can play a lot of these. You can play like 6 or 7, and then they're all MSU, and you need to kill all these 10 wounds each. Because they don't have a table, they don't get worse. And they do damage. They're pretty good in combat as well, and they're fast.
Yeah, the annoying thing about them is that they're pretty good at shooting and pretty good at combat.
Yeah, they're like salamanders.
So you don't want to, stay away from them, but you also don't want to be, and you need
to either you split up your shots, and then you have 2 Alopexes half wounded.
Yeah.
They're good. Alopexes, sharks are good. Yeah.
And the annoying thing about them is they don't have a damage table.
Exactly.
So if you leave them on 1 wound or whatever, that doesn't
That's what I meant.
they're just as good as they
you
were
need
before.
to overkill them basically to make sure they're dead, and thus losing output.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know enough about Idoneth Deepkin, but to like really say how this can affect armies, but it doesn't really strike me that people are suddenly going to start taking more thralls or reavers now because of this hero.
No, and
because they've got enough points.
They're not going to take the hero either if they don't take the infantry. Because
maybe people will take thralls purely because they've been waiting for that 2-inch range for ages. That they will bring up.
Yeah, maybe there's a build where they're battle line. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar either with Idoneth.
So I mean,
40 points is a lot on the Sharks. So if you had armies with 6 of them, 7 of them, now that's a lot of points that your list just went up.
So I mean, does this mean that they've got more? They tweaked things and given ideally to give more options, but we're just going to see loads of eels again. And the heroes.
No, I don't think. I think the time of eels is over.
I mean, it's obviously not just eels, but it's not. I mean, it's going to be eels and sharks and the turtles.
No, they made the turtles better already in Morathi in the Broken Realms book. And sharks are better now. Now even better. So there's more variety. It's gonna be a mix. The rend ignoring eels are still very strong. To have units of free as a screen. Yeah. I'm not sure. I can tell you next week. Or the week
apparently 20 thralls will kill a Mega Gargant, according to the chat.
How many thralls? They have 2 attacks. Is that correct?
I don't know top of my head, but with buffs.
So that would be 40 attacks with damage 2. Could be, unless and then the exploding 6s. If they get, I don't know if get rerolls from everywhere, every round somehow.
They always have rerolls.
Yeah, it's always. I'm gonna reroll the wounds for the fish, and then I'm gonna reroll this, and then I'm in range of my king, so I'm gonna reroll that, and I can once per turn I can reroll anything, and just rerolls after rerolls after rerolls in that book. But yeah, I mean that's cool if the thralls can do that. Great.
Yeah, I mean personally, if they're gonna have more thralls in their lists, I won't mind because thralls are slow. Like playing against Idoneth Deepkin, I would rather be against stuff that moves slowly than being against the sharks and the eels and the turtles that are quick, and the heroes on the seahorses.
I'd be very keen to see if the new book loses that you can only target the closest enemy unit.
Yeah.
Thing. If that goes away, that's tough.
Okay, so that's the news, which has just taken an hour, but
it's a lot
important is
a lot of news. Yeah.
Cool. So, what can I do that? Let's have a look at some stats. Here we go. Now, there's lots of stats on the Honest Wargamer, and it's cool now because you can go and have a play with it yourself. Now,
okay,
I will be honest. I had planned to look at this beforehand and try to aggregate some data, but I got sidetracked painting dragons, so I haven't. So, first of all, Kharadron Overlords, where are we there? 45% win rate.
Do your games feel like 45%?
Mine, more recently.
Your current experience?
Mine probably feel worse than that.
I'd agree.
So yeah, I think it's less than that. This is from 230 matches, 47 tournaments. I assume is that KO matches, or was that changes. So number of faction results 459. Don't really know what that means if it's 230 matches. But anyway, 45. Yeah, to me that seems high.
Mm-hmm.
You can sort it by country. So let's go UK. 43%. Yeah, see? So I'm tanking the stats in the UK. Let's have a look at Germany, see if you'll bring the stats up. Yeah, 68% in Germany.
No,
So
because it's one tournament because we don't
it's
have many
13 matches. So
we don't have many 5-game tournaments, and we actually talk about these lists on the review of I believe it was the Mini Paradise tournament, and there were a couple of them, and I think one player got third or fourth with KO.
yeah. USA 47%.
Well, that's just Jeremy pulling that up.
So I mean, I don't think it really matters per country.
No, there's too little data. But overall, yes, I agree. It feels a bit less, but maybe that's also everyone's better than me. You know, you always go around, they can do this, I can do this, and I can not. And I don't know what to do, I'm losing. And maybe it's just that. Looking through those lenses. Maybe we're not as bad as we put ourselves here at Aethercast.
Yeah, and then battle plans on just generally how often they are seen in tournaments. It is nice to see that Apex Predators is so low down. Because that's
Is that
hard.
the hero one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, First Blood is one that you mostly always play. Survival of the Fittest is one you always see.
Yeah.
Savage Gains, Device. I'm surprised Device is that popular.
Mm-hmm.
Veins of Girds, Star Strike. I like to put that in tournaments because it's just, different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, let's move on because there's lots of pages of stats. So, meta representation 93.
So that's 100%.
Yes, it's 2.9%. So we're quite low-ish, but
it used to be around 8-9% at the time. And it used to be lower, so I guess it's still good, but from my personal feeling, I see less and less KO currently.
Okay, so let's look at this in terms of what do we want to face. Sons of Behemoth is right at the top. Don't want to face him.
How this data is from? What do you say?
Well, we can sort it because at the moment it is for some reason it's like you can change it based on the Oracle.
Yes, because there's old data of that and new data of the Oracle.
So if you go from just a new tome and FAQ onwards, then Sons of Behemoth drops.
Exactly. That's my experience as well. You see less and less.
And Iron Jaws shoots up.
Mm-hmm.
So, which, yeah, I mean.
So Iron Jaws
is a funny one because Iron Jaws kind of depends on how well you roll with your navigators. Like, it's like if you fail those rolls.
It is. It's okay because Iron Jaws, what they do, they run forward and they smash you and pin you in. We can just leave and play somewhere else. And they're fast, but they're not that fast. And if you can slow them down, you can pick them off. I have not have issues with Iron Jaws.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to quickly go back because Joe Jennifer asked me to check Poland. So here we go. Poland, KO.
43.
43.
You need to improve.
You need to. Yeah. Okay. And yes, I agree. Evelina says Rob is amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
Big thanks to the Honest Wargamer, Rob and Ziggy. Ziggy's the only one I can remember because it makes me think of Ziggy Stardust.
Rob the Wargamer. Is that another one? Well, all the people that
do these stats because they're amazing.
Yeah. Go check out the videos, leave a like, donate, all that things.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Stormcast.
Still on that. Stormcast are high. Probably gonna
difficult. Depends on what kind of Stormcast.
If it's dragons.
If it's full dragons, oh dear. Yeah. Long strikes and fulminators, less so, but still very strong. If it's a mix of, whatever the rest is, no issue.
Mm-hmm.
But they're strong. They are strong, yes. There's a reason.
I mean, there's a reason all of these armies are in the high up, is because they're all fairly strong ones.
Yeah, maybe with the exception of Soulblight. That's
Mm.
just, I believe Soulblight is because it's now people have painted up their armies. They've finished their 120 zombies by now. And it's, I mean, vampires, classic Dracula vampires is a favorite of everyone. I have a Soulblight army because I love the lore, and people play him. I don't think they're the super bad guys.
Yeah,
top
but
meta.
interestingly, like Crawl Boys is quite low. And obviously they've just come out. People just finished painting them.
But how many people went and bought Cruel Boys?
I don't know. I mean, maybe there's like an aesthetic thing where it didn't
It
appeal
is.
to many
They
people.
look weird.
There's Dobby, who actually turns out to be really small.
I mean, they have short legs and long bodies. They're a bit weird. But okay, cool. Seraphon are tough if it's Thunder Lizards because it's half damage. That's a very tough one for KO. Soulblight is not so tough because you can shoot the heroes, but it's tough because it's a lot of bodies. Potentially a lot of body, a lot of board control, which makes it hard for us to play our strengths, which is zooming around and shooting people.
Yeah, Lumineth is not too bad if you, depending on how many Sentinels there are, and
and if you can
sometimes just shoot them off.
The point depends on deployment. If you can stay away first turn or not.
Yeah, stay away and go in and shoot the
Same with Daughters. If you can stay away from the bow snakes, then you can half move or quarter move Marathi and kill the rest. Sons, we said previously, they're hard to kill because it's a lot of wounds on good saves now. Maybe less so because Amulet went to a 6-up. Maybe. I'm not sure.
It'd be interesting. You can't do it unless you got two screens or if you took the graphs and overlaid them, but to compare this graph to that graph and see if there's, because KO is in a similar place, like just over halfway down. So I would imagine there is some similarities, like Beasts of Chaos down the bottom, and then low win rate looks like Gitz is quite low down.
Is there another army in here, which, if you go back to the representation, where you'd say it's a hard matchup, but they're not very represented? Maybe Idoneth.
Idoneth because of the shooting thing.
Yeah. Nurgle? I mean, these stats probably do not represent a new Nurgle book yet.
Yeah, so they don't. So,
maybe Legion of the First Prince because it's annoying.
Yeah, because there's not many people.
Alakor and Kairos and all those things. Put the rest down there. Not too troubled.
I mean, Sylvaneth can be a bit of a problem potentially because if they can get woods out, it can block you to fly high places and.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. So, but it says faction positive win rate potential. So this is the chances, or basically the likelihood of having a positive win rate. So I mean, it's basically what I just said. It'd be nice if these two graphs are compared, and now it is compared. Because you got the meta representation on left. So
you still have, if you took Sons, you're very likely to win 3 matches. Just because how the army plays.
But on the left hand one is the meta representation. So
Deepkin are better. Where's KO? 40%. Yeah. And that's more my feeling. Like 40% of the time you're gonna have 3 wins, and mostly 2 wins now. Depending what you face or who you face. So yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of simple. And then we got chances of 5 wins. Oh well, not chances, but this is how often we've had 5 wins. 4 wins or 3 wins. So 5 wins is once.
It's Jeremy.
4 wins is 89. 4 ones, 10% of the time.
10%.
And 3 wins is only 29% though. So this is the thing, is
Well, a third of the time.
which means if you add
3 wins plus 10 plus 10. No,
Yeah.
plus 1. So that's the 40%, is it? Yeah. Makes sense. So you're gonna have positive win rate, but mostly 3 wins.
Yeah. Like if you go positive, it's mostly 3-2.
Which, in general, I say if you win 3 matches out of 5, that's good. It's always nice to win more than lose. That's good. Aiming for 5 wins currently with the current book in the current meta, you need to be very good and have a very good plan, or know exactly what's going to come to that tournament so you can prepare.
There is an interesting thing with these stats with KO as well, is that I know from what I've heard from talking to people that some tournaments rule how you can get out of a garrison differently to others. And so that's really going to shake up your results.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can see that based on country. I mean, because it's tournaments as opposed to countries. It's not like, some countries are ruling it differently. I know most UK tournaments are ruling it that you can't get out. So does that doesn't appear to have done anything? They're just the same. Oh, it's doing something. So, well, I'm trying to think of places where I think they have been ruling it. It's, I don't know.
Neither do I.
I don't know where people are from when I talk to them on on Discord and WhatsApp and stuff. And also, of course, one tournament in one part of the country might do it one way and another one might do it another way. This is more interesting. Win rate by tier. So, KO, when we play against the top tier, we win 39% of the time. But when we play against what's currently the mid tier, we win 42% of the time.
Not so much difference.
No, but then when we play against the bottom tier, we win 63% of the time, which is a big difference. Which is how it feels to me, because it does feel like we're not that great against the mid tier. But then when we go up against the top tier, it doesn't feel much different. Doesn't feel like it's massively harder.
The safe stacking, like, can we get the damage through?
And then you go up against some armies, and then we just wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, because of how we play, because they cannot cope with the KO playstyle, which is teleporting, shooting, not engaging in combat. I mean, who is down there and who is in the bottom? It is Slanesh. They want to rush you and fight you. Khorne wants to fight you. Cruel Boys, they're glass cannon shooty army, so if you shoot them first, they're gone. Skaven, Bone Splitters, Gloom Spite. I mean, they just run from. You can shoot the heroes and they all run away. I think this is due to how KO plays. It is that we're. Did something change?
Yeah, so I just changed it to after the Stormcast and Orc book come out. And have
so how much is it now? 36 compared to how much is the middle one? Still 45 something. If you click on the middle column.
It is 44.
44 to 33. Okay, there's a bit of a difference now.
And slightly less on the bottom tier, 61 instead of 63.
So the mid tier, because things got pushed down to the mid tier, I guess.
Yeah, not massive changes. So
no, it's interesting to see. Yeah, we don't. There's not a big difference if you face a mid-tier army or a top-tier army.
Okay, so this is where I think we're going to get more information here, because this is per faction. So we've got Kharadron Overlords select already. So no, don't think this is what I thought it was. Okay, so.
If you update the Stormcast release tab as well.
I mean, we're not actually on any of those graphs, but if we select Kharadron Overlords, then the bottom graphs change. So, when our first loss happened, the majority of the time it happens in round 1.
Congratulations.
Because I guess that's when we're most likely to fight top tier or mid tier.
I don't know. Why is that most likely in the first round? Because if it's randomized, the pairing,
Yeah.
it's as likely, unless you say because of representation. There's just 2/3 of top tier armies in the tournament.
Yeah. And then,
Okay.
I mean, that seems as good a reason as any. I thought faction win rate over time went up and down. It's not really changed that much. Win rate by month is largely going to depend on the tournaments and where they are and the players, because
That's
not going to be
interesting.
enough.
That in new tome, so second edition was only 47%. It felt much higher. This one, yeah.
That's when, Well, that's when the come out, the Stormcast and Auric book come out. But that was slightly after the edition change. When did the edition change? What month was that?
Oh, so you mean this is not KO book, but this is...
No, this is not KO, but this is... it's all done based on when the Auric and Stormcast...
Okay. Well, that didn't change much for us. Why did we drop in December?
Probably because there was like one random tournament somewhere. Because
Meta
in terms of
representation
percentages, like
stayed the same.
There was only 50 results in December. In October, there was 157.
Mm-hmm.
So October is a much better representation of how we actually do.
So I think a good thing we see meta representation is staying more or less stable.
Yeah,
It's not too many people jumping ship.
No, that's good. Not too many dwarves overboard. Okay, this is one of the things I wanted to find out more.
Oh dear, what is this?
So, let's make it easier. There we go. So this is win rate against certain armies. Now, caveat here, some of these won't have many results to go on.
Okay.
And I thought it would tell you how many results, but unfortunately it doesn't. So, but it's based on colour. So white is less reliable and blue is more reliable. So I'm just going to unclick that to see how strong the blue gets.
Is BOK? Blades of Corn. Okay.
But the blue doesn't actually get very blue for any of our results. So,
yeah.
I mean, Beast of Chaos we win 60% of the time, apparently. Blades of Corn.
67. Yeah, no surprise
Bone
there.
Splitters, Big War, Cities of Sigmar's 33%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very low.
Daughters 47. Let's say so. The ones that are good representation are all negative, except Stormcast.
Yes, because they're the armies people take more, I guess. Disciples of Zinch is quite high, although again it's a whitish one, so not very reliable. Flesh Eater Quartz, yeah, I'd agree that's a good one. Fyreslayers is only 40%.
Well, it'll go up.
It will go up now, yes. Gloomstrike Gits is 91%.
Yeah, okay. Slaanesh 100% of the matches.
Yeah, I mean, these have not had many results, but it does feel like, so the percentage might not be true over a larger amount, but it's still up. Deepkin is about 50%, which is interesting. Iron Jaws is 31%. You said you've not had any problems with it. Obviously, some people
I've never lost to Iron Jaws, so I don't know.
I mean, I have, and I think it's... No, I think it does...
My results are not in here, because I only play mostly one day tournaments.
KBZ, is that crew balls? Yeah, that seems about right because you just
Mm-hmm.
stay out of reach of the shooting, shoot some stuff.
Jump
And
in, shoot them.
yeah, it's quite easy to be able to shoot some stuff without being in range of most of their stuff. They
Yeah.
don't have the movement.
No, it's 27 inches threat range mostly.
Mhm.
And they don't want to deploy in the front line, so usually you can, even with a straight deployment, you can
I've
still
only
go.
played against them once, and I found that I could just go to a flank, which meant I could be within 12 inches of some of their stuff, but more than 27 than other stuff. And then,
Yep.
shoot off a load of stuff,
feeling.
and then, it's not too bad. Legion of the First Prince is only 20%,
Yeah,
but
I
not
can
many
see.
results. Luminef is 35%, which seems low to me. I would have thought that'd be higher. Nurgle doesn't matter because they've got a new book. Nighthaunt,
Doesn't matter because
40%.
no one played them. Bone Reapers, 53%. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because most of their buffs happen in the combat phase.
Soulblight Gravelords, another one where you said you don't think you have many problems, but 24%.
No, I said if you have problems, then it's because of bodies. 24%. This might also be still. It plays a bit different. Soulblight because of the movement shenanigans, and you can pop out of grave sites and the.
Does it depend a lot on the
6-inch
Soulblight list? Like if someone is taking lots of zombies and stuff, but then not everyone is.
Yes. There's different variants, so I don't know what the representation of this. If this is all Nagash and Blood Knights, which was very good.
The 3+ save and Blood Knights is hard for us to deal with.
So, and it used to be reroll ones, and Nagash was better, supposedly.
Seraphon is 24%.
Seems right. Sun's 44. I thought it would be worse than that.
Yeah.
But that could also be because of player skill, because so many people played Sons of Behemoth. First army, you paint 4 models, you go to a tournament, maybe you have a good army, but you don't play as well because you're not as experienced.
Yeah. It's a shame this doesn't have the number of matches. Just because the percentage. Because what I was hoping to do, if I'd had time, was to take some of these and group them into army types, and then work out the overall percentage. Because a lot of these figures are unreliable, because there's not been many matches, but we don't know how many. But if you were to say armies that are DPS checks, like Sons of Behemoth, potentially Soulblight Gravelords, Nurgle, and add them up and then do a general percentage and see what it looks like. Or take armies where you know they don't have the ability to save stack very well, because most things are 4 or 5 up save. And look at that overall percentage, but you can't do it because you haven't got the actual amounts, which is a shame.
Yep. Okay. Well.
Just realised there's different
pages. Is it the frequency? Is this the amount of matches?
Yeah, I just realised there's pages and tabs. So we'll just be missing loads of data. So actually we do have the amount of times we've played against stuff. Okay, so that'd be interesting to cross-reference that a bit.
So actually 37 times against Soulblight. Okay, it seems to be a harder matchup than I thought.
What is this? Unit frequency for Kharadron Overlords. Archon Company, because they're both line. Ironclads, I agree with that, because they're good. Gunhorns,
Navigator.
Thunderers.
Interesting that Endrin Riggers are still
they're
higher than a dirigible.
Well, they're higher than a frigate as well. I guess the thing is, you don't take multiples of a frigate. But then if you do take Endrin Riggers, you probably will take 6 or more. So So this is the
Interesting
thing
that,
because it's
that a hero, Auric War Chant, his top 3 units taken.
Yes.
A single hero.
I'm just wondering what other stuff we've missed. Faction review. Okay. Kharadron Overlords. Barrack Nar has the highest win rate at 56%.
How many matches? Do we know?
No.
18.
18, where are you seeing that?
Top.
Oh, yeah, there. Okay. So, okay, that's all Dave Kane.
18 out of 460. Okay, so that data is skewed.
Yes.
That's one dude playing 4
Barrack
tournaments.
3 is high. Again, that's still not many matches. No Skyport. 80 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Mornar.
80.
Mornar's only 80. Zilfin is.
Yeah, here we go.
86.
Here we go.
I'm surprised Mornar is so low in how many matches.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Skyport that most people are choosing is the one that loses the most, but because it's picked the most, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it's picked for the more competitive tournaments. I don't know. I'm surprised Mornar is so low.
Mm-hmm.
Battalions.
Battle
Command
Regiment.
Entourage, Linebreaker. Yeah, I guess.
So usage, Battle Regiment, of course, because you want to be low drop and alpha potentially.
But that's quite low down. Like more people taking Linebreaker in the Battle Regiment.
No, you need to battalion usage. Go one down.
Oh, what's this? Oh, this is the win rate. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Oh, right, yeah, this makes sense. This makes far more sense than I was expecting. Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, you go Battle Regiment because of one drop or low
Drop
drop.
counts.
Warlord because of artifacts, because our artifacts are great. Hunters because of monsters. Alpha Beast maybe because of you want to do the extra move shenanigans with behemoths, and that's it.
So interestingly, though, the Battle Regiment win rate isn't that high.
No, it's exactly our faction win rate.
Yes. This doesn't change the. We can't see how many people actually use these. Or you could work it out. Zilfin. Oh, it doesn't change for the Skyport by the looks of it either. For battle plans compared to subfaction, Burn and Pillage, there wasn't much usage of it, so that's skewed.
No, that's yeah. So
Veins
I'm
of
surprised
Gur.
Veins of Gur is.
No, I'm not, because that's
no, yeah. Where's the Vice? Okay, 42. Yeah, I was confused with the Vice.
No, Veins of Gur
Veins
makes
of Gur
sense.
is Falling Stars. Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
That makes sense. It's very
Survival
very
of the Fittest has 5 objectives. I still don't remember these names.
No, I don't remember. The Survival of the Fittest, is that the one that's basically...
No, that's the one with predatory units. Yeah, free diagonally, and your predators killing other predators get an extra.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, because we are very good at killing predators. And we're very good at making sure we do it with predators.
Yes.
Because
so that makes sense. Feral Foray is 6 objectives with burning. Power in numbers. I don't even think
that's got 6 objectives, but it's the one where battle line.
Oh dear, I'm surprised.
But it's got so many objectives, so that's the thing.
Yeah, but we are already in the negative here.
Yeah, true.
So, okay. Tectonic interference is shifting objectives. Device. Okay, and then from there we go down.
It's no surprise to me that Apex Predators.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And then win rate versus opponent tier. We kind of already saw this before.
Yes, we've seen this before.
But we can change that by Skyport. So it goes down to 50% against the bottom tier for Zilfin, apparently.
How's Mona compared?
So Mornar
is better against the top. So if you want to compete,
stop them charging because it's more defensive, I guess.
Then because it takes out the hard stuff, the Vanguard, Archeon, the gate breakers, the more crushes and things like that. It just says no charge.
No Skyport is very good against the bottom tier.
Because they have no idea what you're doing.
Well, I think it's also because you can just buff your output. You take no Skyport mostly to buff your output, I think. Because you can get extra gold, you can get reroll ones, you can get... But you can't buff your rend at all. But if you have that, and then you go up against the armies that are typically in the bottom tier, which are the ones with the 4+5+ saves, and then you've got your output is all buffed by having extra gold and stuff, then you just kill even more of their stuff. Does that make sense?
I don't know. Maybe this is skewed.
It could just be skewed.
80 matches.
So
how's Fring doing?
Oh, Fring.
Just out of curiosity.
Very good against the top tier.
Doesn't
better against the top tier than it is against the bottom tier.
But it's only 45 matches, so okay, that's a very small sample. It has a positive win rate. Fring, why is Fring so good? Oh, it's so bad against the bottom.
Well, because it's not playing KO anymore.
So are you telling me not playing KO is better than playing KO?
No, I'm saying it's better against the top tier and worse against the bottom tier.
Overall,
you're taking different tools, aren't you? So you've got access.
Can we see the units that we take in Fring?
No, not in. Well, maybe somewhere. I don't. What's this? Okay, so matches played by opposition.
So, yeah, we've seen this before on the blue and white.
Yeah, but this just puts them both in the same place, which makes it easier to go through. And we can sort it through sub-faction. So Fring loses a lot against Soulbite Gravelords. Wins against
6 matches.
But this is what the thing is. This is one match against.
That's no data.
This
is it's not enough data.
Yeah, it's just
no. But potentially rerolls are always good.
Mirror matches, Fring wins 75% of the time apparently. Zilfrin loses 20% of the time or wins 20% of the time on mirror matches. But yeah, I think this is the trouble with this data. It's like you've got 5 results here.
Yeah.
It's not enough, which is why I was saying about grouping them. But or looking for patterns.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Seraphon, there's a lot of matches and a lot of losses because you have your output.
Yeah. Keeps resetting. Okay. So, tournament finishes mostly 2 wins. That's what we said. So, quite a few one wins. Some very poor souls with 0 wins.
Is that you?
No, not 0 wins. Luckily, I am in this camp and this camp. First loss opponent. Soulbite Gravelords. Daughters of Cain. Luminous Seraphon, Sons of Behemoth, Hydrils. And win rate per round highest is normally round 3, apparently.
Yeah, if you lost 2 matches, then you're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yes, and then you win again, which then round 4 you've gone higher up again, and then round 5 you go lower down again.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense.
That's the 2 wins, round 3 and round 5.
Yeah. Let's see if it changes a bit. Oh, and it goes up.
The last round is always when you win because you're at the bottom now.
Yeah, it does seem like since the Oryx and Stormcast release, it's more likely to lose. More likely to win in round 2, but lose in round 3 and 4. Apparently.
But we can see if we compare the light blue and the blue graph on the left-hand side. Because I understand the blue one is KO, and the light blue is everyone, the average.
Okay.
So it is the curve, the bell curve is skewed more towards 1 win and 2 win.
Yeah.
There's a much higher likelihood to only get 1 win with KO
Cool.
than the average.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Below average on 4 wins, above average on 2 and 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Slightly below average on 0 wins. And if you change it to just after the Stormcast Tome, it shoots up on the 1 win.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure which arrows I'm meant to be clicking to go through stuff because I didn't realise there's tabs and pages. It's confusing. Okay, Kharadron Overlords versus Seraphon. What was it versus Seraphon? And what Seraphon selected? Seraphon versus Seraphon. Oh, okay, left and right. Here we go. Kharadron Overlords. I mean, we've already seen that there's not going to be many matches. Let's do Kharadron Overlords versus Kharadron Overlords.
Well, it's going to be 50-50. The math demands.
You can select sub-faction on one side, but not the other. But this is kind of just similar to what we had on another screen.
It's always the same data, just in different.
Yeah, slightly different. Is there a faction you want to look at? I don't know.
Okay.
So win rate by battle plan. We win 100% of the time on all of those, but lost on. No, we need one with more.
Well,
things.
go to Soulblight, because that was a lot of matches.
Okay.
37.
So Mark and Territory is the one we normally win against someone. I don't know how many matches that was. Oh, it was one result though.
4-2. Yeah, that's not enough data.
Yeah, it's not enough data on any of these, is there? To really say anything.
Win rate by round. So in round 2, if you face Soulblight round 2, it means you're facing a guy that lost the same you did in first round. So maybe you have a chance of winning. The later you face them, the less good it is.
Sons of Behemoth. Quite often play Sons of Behemoth in the last rounds.
Well,
apparently.
Veins of Gurn.
Let's look at idols. Yeah, it's telling us there's not enough data on each faction here, but it's obvious that it's always Veins of Gur. That's one because that is, and we saw it earlier when we were just looking at all the results. 5-0 review.
Oh, these are lists. So what is in the lists? But I don't think there's even with a KO.
Well, there's one.
Black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jeremy.
Yeah,
we did a show.
Yeah, so we know what the list is anyway. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one list that's available. So if you want to look up, but it's cool to see lists. Here.
I just realised both sets of arrows were actually doing the same pages. There's just 2 arrows for no reason.
Okay, so we didn't miss anything.
We didn't miss anything.
Okay.
So, one thing I want to go back to is battle plans. Is the ones that only have 3 objectives? Apex Predators. What else only has 3?
First Blood.
First Blood, slow down.
Tectonic Interference.
I mean, Veins of Gur does, but it's a special one.
Yeah, it's special. The Vice it starts with 4 and then it's 1.
Yeah.
On what's it called? Survival of the Fittest only has 3. So not sure if it's the amount of objectives.
No, I mean,
what we definitely prefer are the ones that go diagonally, because you have a deeper deployment zone and you can stay away.
Yeah. It's interesting the Vice is so long because you can be far away on the Vice.
Yes.
But you need to go into the middle, unfortunately.
You need to compete. Well, for KO in the device, until turn 3, you need to score at least once more, have more objective, which means you need to conquer one of your opponents too. If you don't do that, it's very hard to score in 4th and 5th round when there's only one in the middle. So those are the extra points that you need to gather beforehand.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible round 1 because they're in the corner and they just put one model there and you can't reach. But round 2 and 3 is the ones that you need to select one, try to get it while keeping your own. They're far away. If you're lucky with who you play against, they can't reach yours that quickly.
Yeah.
Go and get it at least for 1 turn or 2. Score the 1-2 more. That's the 2 points that you're gonna miss out round 4 and 5.
Interesting you mentioned about the diagonal ones because obviously Apex Predators is a diagonal one.
Yes, but it's a hero specialty.
Yeah.
Already we didn't like when it was called. What was it called? Places of Arcane Power, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to have a look at this page again at some point and see if I group some of these together. Like if you were
Although
to
it's difficult because, for example, you can build armies in different ways. You can build the DPS check version. You can build the I'm going out and hit you hard, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I guess you have to do it based on the what is the common build.
Yes, and for some of these, there's 2 or 3 common builds.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So it might be a bit difficult. Plus, for example, Disciple of Tzeentch, there's a lot of Archean in there, which is not possible anymore. So the whole data is a bit skewed, but nonetheless, it's great to look at. Especially, it's great to look at if we go to the last page, which was 5-0 armies. Not to see the KO list. Yes, it's great to see the armies list, but to look at lists. What are you gonna face? So okay, there's people coming with Sons lists. Go for Sons of Behemoth, please. There's a couple. So you can check them out, and they're all gonna have similar builds, and you can look them up and know what you're expecting. So that's
good. Yeah, so all Mega Gargants. Wait, hang on. 1, 2. Oh, there is 4. I thought there's only 3. I was like, so there is 4. That's just trolling if you only take 3. I mean, are they all 4 Mega Gargant lists?
I think so. Well, if you go to the Sons of Behemoth
this one
page, you can check out
Man Crusher.
The units.
Yes,
taken.
but that won't show only the 5-0 list.
Although it might be better because it's all the lists that you're gonna face, not just the 5-0.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
mostly it's big ones.
The units was here. So Sons of Behemoth. Yeah, Man Crushers are not used very often.
No.
Iron Jaws. Core Grunters, not surprising. See, this is interesting because obviously this skews units compared to monsters because I'm not sure how it counts them. Like if you take unit of 6 engine riggers, does it count them twice? Or does it just say you got 1 unit?
It's the question is, if you're taking 10 units of free, does it count them as 10, or does it count them? This list had engine riggers. Take 1.
Yeah. Because it's interesting to see Gorgrud is so high up, and then Morgoth is further down.
Because most of the Iron Jaws list had 3 units, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's not so. I mean, you do. Yeah, but it's not double, is it? So it is 2 to 3. Kind of makes sense actually. But yeah, I'm just wondering how it counts. So where is one that would show that? Something like Soul Blight. Blood Knights are very high up.
Because you had all
the zombies are so high up. So
because everyone has at least 1 unit of zombies. Yeah.
But is it counting them if they reinforce a unit? Is it counting them more than once?
I don't know.
I don't think that's something that would really show that very well.
Well, Nagash is just, you can only take 1 of him, so that's 5%. Do you take more dire wolves than Nagash? Yes. Not sure. So zombies is double. You see double the time, double as many zombies than you see Nagash. And I'd say, from a feeling, units-wise, there are much more zombies.
But not actually more lists.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something that would really make it obvious. But my first thought was Fyreslayers, but they're not actually on here because there's probably not enough data on them.
Yeah, could be.
Because there's so few units that it would have to be.
What about Sentinels? Lumineth Sentinels? Could it be like 100% in the middle?
The Sentinels so high up. So,
but
then they don't take multiples of the same heroes, so it would be like this anyway.
True. Well, they take multiples of the Fox sometimes. 2 of the standard, but he's not a hero. I don't know. Elves. I think we cannot tell at this point.
Where was the Fox anyway? Severeth.
Spirit of the Wind. Huracan Spirit of the Wind. 6%.
Yeah. But there's also Severeth as well, which gets used. He's like the
hero. Then he's not counting, because there used to be a lot of lists where you had 2 Spirits of the Wind and Severeth, but they're only 2% more, and I know lists that don't use Severeth. So it's just counting, do you have 1 or not? Not how many, just yes, no. I think that's how they're counting it.
Well, even if it was counting how many, it's like whether they're reinforced, does that count as 2? Is the main question.
Probably not, because I believe the macro behind this just goes through the list, search and find this name.
Yeah, it won't be able to work out if they're reinforced.
And for reinforced, it would not count. It wouldn't find twice. Wouldn't find the name twice.
Yeah, Iron Drake's very high up on Cities of Sigmar. No surprise.
Yeah.
Daughters of Cain. Will it show Gotrek?
Not anymore.
No.
That's interesting. Where is Gotrek in this?
He's 22.
Individual. Faction individual. You cannot select individual. So he doesn't show up in any of the faction.
Yeah. Is there anything that takes a large amount of allies? Or very often takes a particular ally?
I mean, cities, because Stormcast are not allies, and then you have the coalition units, and then you have actual allies.
I'm just wondering if there's a faction, because I don't know if it's including, like, the way they scrape the data, whether if that finds a list with gun holders in, whether that just goes to the KO stats, or whether it looks at the faction it's in, and say if Fyreslayers were always taking gun haulers as allies, whether that like
Oh,
gun haulers would show up in the Fyreslayer stats.
go to Zinch and see if there's Archaon. No, so he's not.
No, so
because you see much more Archaeons than you see Changelings.
Yeah, so you will never
In
see
Zinch.
Gotrek in any of these stats,
No.
even if he is being used a lot in.
Where is he on the top 25 Archaeon? Not even. Interesting.
You see more Liberators than Archaon, apparently. The Spell Portal is number 5, though.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
the Life Swarm is number 9.
Life Swarm, yeah.
Because they're good.
And the bridge is not there. The bridge is lower down.
No. Yeah,
well, that's interesting.
I mean, it counts Pink Horrors as Disciple of Zinch, but you're going to see them in Legion of the First Prince.
Yeah.
Things like that. So.
Okay. Cool. I don't think we can really get much more from this.
No. Just
we need more data. We need more games.
You play more games. People go to 5-game tournaments and play KO, so we have data. Play them well, so we have good data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
But generally, if you go to a 5-game tournament, ask your TO if he's submitting the data, and maybe you can help out. Send lists to Rob and the team, because the more data, the better information we have.
Yeah, although I mean, I think if they're using something like Tabletop TO, then they can just get the data anyway from there. And same if it's like West Coast pairings.
Yeah, but not everyone does that. So
no, it's cool when they do. Mm-hmm. Cool. Other than that, have you got any tournaments or anything coming up?
Tournaments not. We'll have a 1-day in February coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Again in Austria, where I've been the start of January with Skywardens. I'm gonna say
yes.
There's six Skywardens in my list. Yes, and next weekend I'm driving up to Kassel, which is in the middle of Germany, to have our first AOS Worlds team meet, bootcamp training, hangout.
Okay.
So it's gonna be 10, 11,
so you're just gonna be playing people. Each other and
we're gonna playing each other. We're gonna talk through lists, what we're gonna take, what we want to take, pairings, how to pair, what lists on what scenarios against what possible opponents, and play a lot of games basically. And it's just it's just as a team building, hang out together, not via web meeting, but actually face to face. Have a pizza at night and talk, and it's always fun with the guys. We have a few new members because teams went up to 8 players, so that's great. That's gonna be next weekend.
Cool. So no show next weekend then?
Not with me at least.
No. But I have a tournament next weekend, just a 1-day, so that's on the Saturday. So
You playing Monar or Zilfin?
I am playing Zilfin. 2 drops. I decided on the end because
with dragons.
Yes, with dragons, cool. Which are nearly painted. Well, I say nearly painted. The dragons are nearly painted.
Where's the dwarfy?
But the dwarfs are just lead belcher at the moment. So
okay.
And I was trying to do that conversion with
which conversion?
With the dragons. But the Adeptus Mechanicus with the little mini dragons.
Yeah, the big mini dragons.
Yeah, someone is actually doing it and made it not look stupid, like mine did, because they didn't put them on a flight stand, so they're closer to the base, which helps. And just by cutting, the backpack with the wings bit in half, so that because I was trying to put the wings it's like that backpack bit on the top of the dragon.
Yeah.
Well, not the dragon,
and you put them sideways.
Things. Yeah, put them on the side. That makes the wings go out a bit further and be close to the base. So they look all right.
Well, send me a picture.
I don't think people would be annoyed about line of sight and stuff with them. Because
depends on the in what universe. No.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
at
because
AOS Worlds, people are gonna complain.
but are they going to complain
if
if
you're
you
gonna
just say it's fine, you can see them? They're not, are they? So,
yeah, it depends. I know.
so
I know.
yeah, I'm a
Some
little bit
people.
annoyed because I saw that and thought, that's a bit late now. I've already started. I've already bought some dragons.
Oh well.
Oh well, but
Oh well.
it does look cool.
Yeah,
So it'd be interesting.
that's cool.
Be nice to see them when that person's finished painting them as well.
And where is this tournament?
It's just a local one in my home city.
How many players?
Tell you what. We're 24.
That's good. Good showing.
It's called Still Can't Find Felix because
Oh.
the previous tournament was the hunt for Felix Jaeger. The person running. So 23.
Let's see the list then. Can you see him already?
You can see mine. So Barracks Ilfin, Hold the Line, Inspired, Chemist, General Collector, staff of Optimization, Navigator with the Flare Pistol, another Navigator, 2 units of Arcanauts, a Frigate, 10 Thunders with Rifles, a Gun Hauler with Drill Cannon and Spar Torpedo, 2 Dragons with Lances, and
Lances.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I want the Rhinus 2 Rend, because I don't have enough of that in KO.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, look good.
So we'll see, and then I have another tournament the week after that. So
cool.
Which
Let
is
us
at
know
a
how
different
it goes.
place. So 2 tournaments, 2
I'm keen.
days.
Yeah. I'm still. Do I buy 2 dragons? Everyone's buying dragons. I have 8 full miniatures to paint, so.
I guess the problem with dragons is if you buy them and you take them and you're not playing Stormcast, what do you do when you come up against a dragons list? Or a Stormcast list that's got more dragons than you?
I don't know. Distract them with the other stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
So.
A full dragon list for KO might be. It's difficult. It's a lot of wounds and good saves. So I'm not sure.
Cool. Well, I guess that's the end of the show.
Yes.
So we're just meandering now.
We are.
So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did like the show, then please hit like. Please subscribe for more KO and Dwarden and Age of Sigmar content in the future. Thanks for joining me, Max, of course. And we'll see you again soon, Skyfarers.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Go bring that average up, people.
Yes.
Let's go.